Welcome to Shade and the City. It's your girl Treese here. And y'all know what I'm here to do. I'm trying to get up here and give y'all a recap for Beyond the Gates today, Monday, episode 164, season 1. And it's the first week of November. And if this is what it's given, y'all, don't be expecting a whole bunch of Emmy nods, okay? Because I'm trying to fill in the spaces because literally I'm trying to get this over 10 minutes. And I apologize in advance because you're probably going to get more DNA than you want, but they were literally pretty much the majority of the episode. Between them and Leslie and Eva, that was it. Okay. So this is going to be a very quick one. Thank y'all for tuning in. Respectfully, I understand for those who are like, Latrice, love you, but I ain't got it to do this one. That's okay. Just do me a favor, come in, hit the like button, and then you can go on your way because I completely understand. Because it was brutal just having to rewatch it. Okay, I literally cut it off at about 2:30. If y'all go look at my timeline on Twitter, I was done. So for all my Shade Squad and all my new viewers, please go ahead and do me a favor for coming up here and doing this for y'all. And please hit that like button. It's free 99. Okay. And for all of those that are liking the vibe, and I promise you it's usually not like this, please go ahead and subscribe, okay? And let's go ahead, get into this episode, and let's get shady.
Last drip on the skyline pane. Shade in the city, true hit like a banger. I said it, I meant it, no need for disclaimers. Haters right away, but they just false claimers. Concrete beats are heavy like cinder. Looking for one, but the streets feel winter. No filters, no edits, I'm raw with my splinters. My life a movie, they watching the trailer. I'm not gonna hold you. Shade in the city, the vibe and the mold. You like and subscribe if you're feeling the vibe. This is my word, I just let you inside. Said it, the city, I'm not gonna hold you. Shade in the city, my words gon' console you. Like and subscribe if you're feeling the vibe.
All right, y'all. So we kick off this episode, and Anita is on, playing the piano while Vernon is sneaking around on the phone, doing what he do. So they start talking about planning this Winterfest, and Anita, seems overwhelmed. She got a lot on her plate, and Vernon's like, "Well, let me do something to help you." And he talks about how he wants to sing, and Anita's like, "No, thank you, respectfully, but that's not your ministry." Then she ends up assigning him pretty much to doing a seating chart. And I was like, damn. And so eventually Vernon comes in and saves the day because he brings Laura to help. And then that's when we learn that Laura is having problems with her little boyfriend, Dave. And did y'all care? Just asking for a friend. Did y'all care? Because I didn't. We ain't got enough of Laura to give a damn about Dave. Okay, let's move on. Eva comes home and Leslie's sitting there waiting for her. And so she asks Eva, well, why didn't you tell me that, our dreams just came true? And so Eva starts telling her about the breakfast that she had with Ted and how he said he wanted to focus on family and wants her at the family gatherings and, all this other great stuff. And so Leslie gets all emotional saying how, she always wanted this for Eva, a man who wants to be in her life. And so Eva is asking, well, how did you know that I talked to my dad? And so, she just mentions that, I ran into Ted down at the Uptown or whatever. And, me and him might actually be becoming friends. And I was like, oh my God. So she starts telling her about the conversation she had with him and how it reminded her of how they used to be. And, how they just sat and talked about their favorite thing, which is, of course, a little old evil Eva, right? So Eva talks about how, she never dreamed that she would actually see her parents getting along. And so she tells her all the nice things that Ted said to her, but Leslie's more concerned with, well, what did he say about me? Eva lets her know that, Ted basically just shared who you were back in the day. And of course, Leslie eats that up and she starts going on about her past with Ted and, and then at this point it becomes a waterworks and Leslie is apologizing for making Eva ever feel that it was her fault and talks about how raising a child alone that you went against the world. And I was with Miss Renee. Are you the only woman in the world to raise a child alone that you have to traumatize him? to get through. But okay, girl, if that's what you're gonna go with. And so she's like, oh, and I did the best I could. And I literally, my notes say, I think these tears were supposed to move us, but it didn't do nothing for me. But I will say shout out and happy birthday to Trisha Van Gant. It is her actual birthday. So shout out to you. I mean, not like Leslie, but I can appreciate you as an actress. All right. So Leslie says, she wishes she could erase all her mistakes, but Eva's like, no, because that's what made us. That's what made me the evil person that I am. Sorry, y'all, I got interrupted. But she tells Leslie because she didn't quit her evil ways, you know, that's how you were able to get the life that you wanted for me. And I was like, the logic is not logicking for me, but okay. Okay. I learned a long time ago you don't try to understand crazy people because then, in fact, you are yourself crazy. Right. In other news, my son lost his first tooth today, so I actually had to pause and stop because he's hassling me about where the tooth is so he can get paid. Big Leo energy. Okay. But yeah, I just decided to share that with y'all because I thought it was more interesting than this episode. Derek goes down to Garland Memorial, and he tells Shanice he needs her help. He's trying to get Ashley some time off of work so they can run off and get married because we know the last episode she lied and said it just wasn't happening. She was just too busy. So Shanice was like, "Nah, I talked to her a couple weeks ago and told her she could have whatever day she like." But apparently, yeah, no, Ashley was lying, right? Right. And Shanice clocks him and was like, well, I mean, y'all both lying to each other. You still ain't told her about, you know what I'm saying? So that's how y'all want to start off a marriage. Do you, boo boo? Do you? Now, Naomi and Jacob are down at Orphe Jeans, and she's talking about her co-workers when Jacob finally breaks the ice and said, look, I'm tired of walking on eggshells because we're ignoring the elephant in the room. Now, I will say this. This is the one time, Jacob, you open the door this time. Usually it's her. You open the door and you knew Naomi was going to walk through that. Okay. So she sarcastically apologizes for boring Jacob and says, I'm just really tired of talking about this subject because I don't know where we go from here. I know what I don't want, and you clearly now want different things. So then that's when they get a text from Derek asking them to come down to the hospital. So they rush down there thinking that something might be wrong. And Naomi is busy snapping at Jacob. And then Ashley rolls up, why are y'all here? Only to find out that Derek done called them down there so they could set a date for the wedding. And Ashley is completely mortified because she's like, so people work. I'm at work. You realize that, right? And so Derek just keeps pressuring her, like, well, why did you lie about, not having time? And she was like, look, yeah, I told a white lie, but this is not what we do. This is not it, sir. And so basically she said, look, I know what you're trying to do, but what you're doing is pushing me away. And that's all I got for y'all on them. Hopefully that was short enough for you. Okay. And not before Naomi speaks up for Ashley and tells Derek that he completely overstepped. And if he wants to get married, that he needs to learn to get on the same page. And she said, you either need to decide whether you want to be happy or whether you want to be right. And so Jacob was like, okay, this misdirected anger. Let's go. Let's go. Jacob confronts Naomi back at Orphe Jeans, and he was like, you was doing a lot involving yourself in Derek's issues like that. And Naomi said, no. He called me down there. So I'm going to give him the truth. But basically, Jacob calls her out and lets her know, baby, the anger is misdirected because you're going off on him. Really, you want to go off on me. And so she tries to deny that, but she's like, you know what, Jacob, I'm going to be honest. I just don't know who you are at this point. And so he was like, well, why don't we go see Nicole and try to get some couples counseling? And I said, okay, I can appreciate that. Only for Naomi. And this is when I said, oh, this is bipolar. We were talking about this on Twitter today. Naomi turns around and said, I don't need to talk to nobody. I know what I want. You're the one that switched up. I said, okay. And then we see Vernon show up at the hotel to meet Sharon for what I believe to be these singing lessons, because you're not going to convince me Vernon is cheating. I'm not ready to believe that. Okay. I'm not ready to accept it. But that was this episode, y'all. I'm sorry it's such a short recap, but I mean, honestly, hopefully I made it less brutal for you because it wasn't a good day. But yeah, If you guys haven't already, please do me a favor, hit that like button. Make sure that you comment. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the notification bell. Make sure you're following us on all the platforms. That's the TikTok, the Twitter, the Facebook, the IG, and the Blue Sky. And I will catch you tomorrow for hopefully what will be them acting like this is actually Sleep Sweet. Okay. Yeah. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.